And and he was overthrown. In the guns, 1989, they had a code of rights which said that you cannot ban the arms. It's the tyrannical, totalitarian governments that you really run the risk of when you are banning guns. And you bring up a good point. The homicides from Mao Zedong, for example, he had killed, in his 27 years of rule of terror, some 27 million people died in prison and labor camps. Close to 38 million people died of starvation, Great Famine, total death, about 70 million people attributed to him. About 12 million to Adolf Hitler. Joe Stalin. They attribute at least 6 million people, but that doesn't include all the gulags and the purges. Pol Pot, 1.7 million. Kim Sung from North Korea, 1.6 million. Leopold II of Belgium, 8 million. Massive
right.
amounts
so
of
what you're reading
people.
is showing the amounts of people that have been murdered by their own people, their own leaders.
People in power, yeah.
People in power. And most of those countries, if you just take Germany with Hitler, the Holocaust, those 12 million that died, they could not own a gun. If they did, we'd probably be talking today that the Holocaust, it might have still happened, but instead of 12 million, probably under 1 million.
Hitler banned the guns, Mao banned the guns, Stalin banned the guns, and the first thing a tyrannical government, including James II in 1680, was to ban the guns.
So more people have died, and this is not even close, more people have died as a result of government fighting and killing in your own country than any other possibility. But yet, the government that I live under, the United States, doesn't want me to own a gun. And I'm concerned that there's got to be a reason behind why they're doing this, and it has to be what you just read.
And pointing out incidents such as Newtown makes, which you end up with mass hysteria and people being terrified of guns out there. The fact is, in England, where they have an outright ban, they've also had mass killings. In 1987, in Hungerford, England, 16 people were killed, 15 people injured, and the guy committed suicide and then shot it just after shooting his dog. And Switzerland, someone killed 14, injured 18 in 2001. In 2010, United Kingdom, Copeland, someone killed 12 people, injured 11, and committed suicide. It happened in Spain, in Sweden, Germany, Soviet Union, 17 people killed, 3 injured, and then he also killed 12 horses. So the mass killings occur everywhere, whether or not there is a outright ban of guns or not. And I think that's what we're beginning to realize, that we have much more to fear by an outright ban or on guns, or even these encroachments with regard to legislation about whether or not you can get one gun or 2 guns, or whether or not you can get it with mental health issues or under the influence of medications. These are the issues that we have to deal with, and I think it's good that you're here and to alert the public to the fact that these concerns are something that everybody, every country, every people has to deal with. And if they deal with them a way where they ban them and eliminate our ability to protect ourselves from not only each other, but from the government, then we're going to have a problem. We have to be able to exercise our right to defend ourselves. And the framers of the Constitution, Thomas Jefferson, they were all very much aware of the issue of a central government. And as it is right now, we have a Homeland Security and various other federal agencies who are armed to the teeth. So does that bring more fear to you than your neighbor?
Not to me.
But if a coup d'etat occurred or some corruption in government occurred, would you be able to defend yourself?
No.
From these agencies, if the wrong person got in charge of the country?
Put it this way. If they got all this stuff to happen and they started pulling the Second Amendment rights away from all the gun owners in this country, you wouldn't even see how bad it would be 10 years from now. People would be wishing that they never took the rights away for the right to bear arms, because just what you're saying, back in history, that gives other countries, this country, I mean, we don't know. I mean, everybody wants to think that everything's, hunky-dory out there. But, we just don't know. Why are they emphasizing so much on this? You start hearing other information like the UN. They want us to be part of the UN, but they want to start putting things in there where they don't want the people of this country to have guns. Why? That's where it comes down to. And then you start following other incidents throughout this United States. I mean, why would they want us to really lose our rights to carry guns? There's more to this than what's going to happen. I mean, what we're seeing right now. But if all this stuff gets put into place, it's going to be bad. It's going to be terrible.
Let me read you another quote from Thomas Jefferson, who said, "None but an armed nation can dispense with a standing army. To keep our arms and disciplined is therefore at all times important." What do you think he meant by that? None but an armed nation can dispense with a standing army.
Your friends, your neighbors can at least get together to defend what they need to defend. And if you take that out...
Under the Constitution, there was no standing army. Standing army was allowed for a 2-year period on a provisional basis. They did not want a federal standing army. They were terrified of one. They allowed for a navy, but not an army. The contract for each 2-year term has been renewed ever since. But they did not want a standing army, and they felt that the only way they could defend themselves against a standing army is if everybody was armed, because they were very much afraid of a central government takeover.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen with Hitler, and we've seen with Mao, and we've seen with Leopold II, and all these other countries. This is a real thing. It happened in 1945. It happened in 1968.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't we be concerned about this?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. You look at the big picture. All these other countries, they don't have the rights anymore. And I don't know. I know for sure we are, but I don't know what other countries have that right to have weapons of their own. Like a right to bear arms or whatnot.
Some countries have an outright ban.
Right.
Many countries have
right.
an outright
And
ban.
if you follow
Mexico
the history,
has an outright ban.
if you follow the history,
Mexico is the highest murder rate in the world, and it has an outright ban.
there you go.
So
So who controls the power there? The Mexican government, and that's the way it's going to be. Nobody can, retaliate. I mean, it's very hard to stick up for themselves. They can't. I mean, they don't have any control. The government has the control.
well, actually, in Mexico, they have 3 major gangs. But the people can't defend themselves.
But are they working
because
for the
guns-
government?
The guns are out of their hands. They can't defend themselves from these gangs.
That's right.
Much of what happens in legislation has to do with public opinion. Like we talked about at the beginning of the show, it's a driving force behind legislation. And when people see horrible things like Newtown, then their initial reaction is bad. It is to come up with some law which they think is going to stop this from occurring. So, and unfortunately, people easily are swayed. And Steve, I think you had some. You had a.
Yeah, I was listening to one of the one of the AM. It's a local station, and this new radio talk host is named Paul Westcott, and he brought up a couple of issues about Alex Jones. He said that he had one of Alex Jones's associate, I guess, was out in California, and he had a clipboard going around looking for petitions to ban the rights for the rights to bear arms against the people that are doing everything legally. So, and he would approach these people and say, well, we only want the military, the police, and the criminals to obtain firearms. We want to take away the rights to the standing citizens that have, gun rights and gun permits and whatnot. And people were signing this stuff. And it's like, they don't understand. I mean, they're going to allow criminals, because criminals are still going to have the rights to have the guns, even if they penalize us as a gun owner.
Right.
It's not going to stop anybody, but it comes into where the ignorance is. These people don't understand the full picture. They hear a little, like you said, the isolated incident in Connecticut, and that affects their whole picture of everything, because that one little isolated incident. But you look all around the whole United States, it's not out of control. It really isn't. I mean, if you really look, there's more accidents, there's more deaths from other instances than firearms. And then if you look at the gang-related, yeah, I mean, that happens. I mean, we can't get away from that, but those are criminals.
Good points, and I think that's why we're here today, is to try to get the message out to people that they should really be very careful before they try to enact legislation to impinge upon Second Amendment rights, because it's something that they're going to have to live with forever.
Yeah.
And it's something that can hurt them. And as it did hurt Hitler's Germany, the people there, Mao Zedong, people in China, millions had died there, and in Russia, and several other countries. So we have to be very careful before we try to eliminate the protection that the founding fathers and Thomas Jefferson, they made it number 2, the second biggest amendment, and it was very important to them. Well, thank you very much for coming. We're very happy you came.
Appreciate
great
it.
guests, and I think that's a wrap.
Oh, you had a clock right there. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
I wonder how long this is going to be.
Yeah.